As we do every half hour here on the Tahoe Today Show, we get a live report from in the field. Our General Manager, Pete Laughlin, who do you have this time?
All right, thanks, Mike. We're over here in Myers, California. We're with Forrest Schaefer this morning from North Lake Tahoe Fire and Rescue. We want to thank all of our viewers tuning in for the first time this morning on Comcast Cable. Forrest, as we were talking, you're from the North Shore. We're here on the South Shore. Fires really don't follow imaginary boundaries, do they?
That's a really good point. When we think about Sierra Nevada forests and we think about how fires burn, fires like to burn in the Sierra Nevadas, and they will continue to burn. And when they do, they're not going to stop at any sort of a boundary or a property line. And so when we think about what we can do before a fire starts, we need to think about our forests as a landscape and not as a patchwork of different ownerships, and trying to coordinate what happens on each of those different ownerships.
So let's talk about the forest here. This is an example of some fuel reduction that you do lake-wide.
Yeah, we look around at this forest, and this is what a Sierra Nevada forest should look like. We have big, widely spaced trees. We have a lot of diversity. We have different ages of trees, and forms a really good wildlife habitat. But this doesn't happen on its own. Work needs to happen to get a forest like this. 120 years ago, fire would turn a forest into something like what we're looking at right now. But now it takes a lot of work, and it takes work by agencies, it takes work by homeowners on their own land in order to turn a forest into something that will be both resilient to wildfire and something that is appropriate for our Sierra Nevada ecosystem.
So explain this area. A lot of times when you first come through, you'll pile up all the slash into burn piles, and then you save that. What determines when you remove those slash piles?
Well, looking around at a day like today, when it's nice and cold, when we know that we're going to have a safe condition for burns, that's what fuels managers will look at before they go and think about igniting piles and being able to remove all of that material that has accumulated over many, many years.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time to come down here on the South Shore to join us. Like we said, fire really doesn't look at a boundary and say, geez, we're not going to go this way. We'd also talked that, a lot of times the forest abuts right up into private residences, as you can see behind us as well. And a lot of that responsibility comes on the homeowner.
Yeah, the agencies around the Lake Tahoe Basin, like the area behind us, are doing a lot of work to reduce forest fuels, to thin trees. But a lot of times that work stops when we get to private property boundaries and we get onto residential parcels. So it's really important for property owners, for renters, to know what the risks are with wildfire and to know what they can do in order to improve their forest health and reduce their risk to wildfire.
All right, so if you got a question, what's the number to call you? We have CALFIRE's number up on the screen as well.
The number to call? I think the best place to go actually for information for property owners is to go to tahoe.livingwithfire.info, and there will be all the information that they need in order to be able to take action on their property and find a lot about what's happening around the Lake Tahoe Basin with other agencies' fuel reduction work.
Forrest, appreciate you taking time to join us.
Thank you, Pete.
All right, Mike, we'll throw it back to you in the South Shore studios.
Thank you very much, Pete and Forrest. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with your 7-day weather forecast. Stay tuned.